Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Modern Customer Podcast. I'm your host, Blake Morgan. Today, my guest is Michael Gerrish. He is the Chief Marketing Officer and Chief Experience Officer at Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas. 15 years ago, Mike pioneered customer experience, bringing it to healthcare. And since his time at Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas, the company has achieved the #1 ranking on Forrester's 2024 Experience Index for health insurance. Michael's marketing efforts have continuously generated over $120 million in annual revenue from qualified leads and drove a record-breaking 2024 annual enrollment period with improved conversion rates from 50 to 70% and 93% customer retention. Today, we're talking about AI transformation and some of the challenges and opportunities facing healthcare and insurance today. Please enjoy Michael Gerrish. Mike, thank you for being here. I'm so happy to meet you, and I have so much to talk to you about
Thank you.
today.
Likewise, pleasure to meet you. I feel honored to be interviewed by the Queen of CX. I can't claim any of those types of titles, but I'm so impressed with your work and what you do for others and sharing these wonderful stories. So thank you for the invite.
Well, I have to say, I am an advocate and a cheerleader for customer experience. And my goal is to get people excited and aware of customer experience. And for the past 20 years, that's what I've been doing. So if you want to get
It's
people's
awesome.
attention, you just call yourself, well, someone else called me the queen, which sounds so silly, but people at least will listen to a queen. They'll take customer experience
Yeah,
seriously.
absolutely. I was
um,
recently called an ogre, but there's a good story behind that. Like it was more of like, Shrek, and I know you have kids, so do I. So like you probably watch all the movies.
yeah.
And I'm the ogre and my team is like the donkey, and together we make this great team. So I've actually hoping to elevate from ogre to maybe founder or lieutenant someday, but I'll take ogre for now.
Well, it's nice how humble you are, and hopefully your team didn't mind also being called donkeys because that's very funny.
Well, they call themselves that. So
Oh, perfect. All right. Well, then no harm, no
yes,
foul.
yes.
But seriously,
Yeah,
let's talk.
exactly.
I was looking at your LinkedIn. I've seen some of your team members you've called out for their excellence in building this customer experience program that you've been working on for 5 years. Can you take us back to day one and what you were tasked with?
Do you want to go the Wayback Machine before CX was even a thing and it was something called
Yeah,
something
let's go on
different?
the
Or do you want
Wayback
to?
Machine.
Okay, let's go on the Wayback Machine. Let's go. So I started my career in sales and I was terrible at it. I had great customers and great relationships, but nobody bought anything. But it was a wonderful job. It was on the phone and I learned how to listen and talk to people and understand their problems and issues. But I knew sales wasn't for me. I've always loved marketing and branding. So I really wanted to get into a marketing role. And Discover Financial Services in Chicago, there was an opportunity to work on the ad team. And I was immersed in our largest accounts and going out and seeing some of our biggest accounts and really experiencing what the customer goes through and how can we partner with them to create better kind of surprise and delight experiences at Discover Card, because we were an underdog in many respects with the bigger credit card companies. And through that experience, I really found the joy and the passion around the customer and how you don't have to be the biggest or have the most capital to do really amazing things with customers. And we developed really cool strategic initiative programs. And through that experience, one of the lead executives is like, hey, I just took this big job in customer service. I would love for you to come over and help build out a customer engagement program. So back then it was the Gallup CE11 customer engagement stuff. And I said, great. So we had 4 call centers, 10,000 employees, and I got on the road and went out there and listened to them and understood what their pains were. And they were dealing with some of the toughest calls because there's people that are either in debt or can't pay their bills. They've used a credit product to help them, but they've gotten to a point where it's either not helping. And some of these calls are really emotional. They're financial, money's involved, right? So we developed the first customer experience program before it was like a CX was a thing. And it was an internal branding campaign, working with all of our customer service reps and building the brand from the inside out. Because every time someone called, it's you behind the card. So we empower the employees to say, you represent the brand in every call. And that moment that someone's on the call, you have the opportunity to make their day better or worse. It never stays the same. And that philosophy has carried me through my whole career, and the jobs have just gotten bigger and more strategic and more mission driven since then. And ultimately landed in my true home, which is in health insurance. I'm in the content management business, just like you. So every day I have to take a product that people can't see, hear, touch, feel, smell, that they don't necessarily want, but they can't live without. So for a marketer and a CX person, it's like the ultimate job and the ultimate challenge. And that's where I am today.
So, Blue Cross Blue Shield is an interesting organizational structure and business, and you are running the Kansas customer experience and marketing program. I mean, just for our audience that might not understand the intricacies of how that works, like, can you, with broad strokes, like paint the picture of how it works with Blue Cross?
So Blue Cross and Blue Shield in and of itself is the most recognized health insurance brand in the world, which is amazing. We have 33 independent plans, if you will. So if you, I don't want to use the word franchise, but think about it like a franchise model, because most of
Mhm.
your listeners will kind of understand that. So we have the national strength of this amazing, international strength of this amazing brand, but we're local. So we have independent plans that are in individual states. So we oversee Kansas, so we have over 1 million members. And our entire territory is the state of Kansas. And we're the largest local not for profit plan, health plan in Kansas, which is really cool. And a lot of people don't know that. So these are great opportunities to like educate people on how that works, because oftentimes when people think of insurance, particularly health insurance, they think of for profit. And we're not. We have a different business model, and that's what makes us unique. The fact that we live here, the fact that we work here, our kids go to school here. I see my customers at volleyball games. I saw one last night. Funny story about that. Anyway, it's really a different value proposition because care is local. And when you think about it, I just like to explain it to people. You know, we were started by providers over 80 years ago when they wanted to provide care to their neighbors, but people couldn't pay for it. And they said, we must find a different way. So this triangle emerged, and the triangle was patient, provider, payer. And that triangle has to work together in order for the healthcare system to work. And people don't realize how intertwined those three are to make that three-legged stool work really well. So I find every opportunity I can to tell that story and tell our history, because I think people don't really realize how we're structured, how we operate. You know, 95% of our employees live in this state. You call customer service, you're going to get someone from Garden City or Dodge City or Lawrence, Kansas or Topeka. And that means something to people. People want their care to be local, and that translates into our service and how we interact with them as well. It makes a difference.
Yeah, I love that. And I love even just the way you're talking, like you see your customers at the volleyball games, like the employees are your neighbors. So you're feeling this community that with such a big company, sometimes you can't get that. Let's talk about the transformation you were hired to help launch 5 years ago. Can you just tell us where you started and where you're at now?
Sure. Well, it actually started, rewind the tape 10 years before that. I was at the Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Iowa and South Dakota, and I built and launched the CX program there. And it was one of the first CX programs in the entire Blue system. So, of those 33 plans we talked about, we were one of the first. And that program is very strong still today. I've moved on, and Kansas called me. My wife's from Kansas. So we have family here, and it was just, they called and said, hey, we saw what you did up in Iowa and South Dakota. We'd love to do some of that stuff down in Kansas. So it just worked out. And I've actually lived in Kansas before when I worked at Payless and retail. So the world has called me back to live in Kansas, specifically Lawrence, twice in my life. So I figure I'm here to stay.
Hmm.
God wants me to be here.
Hmm.
And we're doing some amazing things here because we are a smaller plan. So some of the blue plans are very large, and that's great, but they also don't have the scrappiness and agility that we have as a smaller plan. I mean, believe it or not, over 1 million members were considered small. When you think of, but that's been the blessing. So coming in here and being part of the senior leadership team, which, as many of your guests have said, having that executive bench on board with CX is critical. That was one of the main reasons I took the role. We have an amazing CEO that's all about the customer. The first thing you do when you walk into a building is it's people first. And that means something. It's not just something on the wall. It's the members, the employees, the providers, the brokers. It's a people business, and we show up in the biggest moments of people's lives. When you think about all the life events you've had, half of those are probably health related, whether it's having a child, having an accident, having some type of an event, or your children that are moving out of the home and they need to find health insurance and you want to protect them. So we're a big part of people's lives. And anyway, it's just an honor to be here and to build another program. And because of that agility and the investment and the executive buy-in, we've actually in 5 years become the number one plan on, I can't mention the names because it's probably copyright stuff, but one of the big like CX shops. We do an annual survey with them, and we also have SQM, which compares us to any call center in the nation. And we've had that number one 4 years in a row. So like, it's not just lip service. We have the metrics to back it up. The program's working. And it really did start with the top and coming in and developing a strategy from the ground up, and also having marketing and CX together. And we can talk about that if you want, or take a break. But that was a big part of why I took this role, because the integration of those two is so critical for these CX programs.
Yeah, so when you say customer experience to you, are you running the contact center? Does that mean data? Does that mean AI? Does that mean technology? What does that look like?
It integrates with all of those, but I did not want to run the call center. Actually, when I worked at Discover Card, I was part of the customer service call center organization. And what I found limiting there was you could make a lot of progress, but people use customer service and customer experience synonymously, and they're so
Right.
different. I mean, customer service is such a big part of delivering on a customer experience, but customer experience is everything. It's every touch point. And, you can't oversee and direct and manage and lead everything. So I think the federated model is much more effective than just working through these big companies over the last 20 years. I mean, I think to have a senior leader there that leads the strategy and then works with others to implement in their own business units is the best way to see the progress. I've tried it all different ways. I've failed a ton. And I just think if you can get the strategy, then you can drive the structure. And I think sometimes people flip it where they're like, oh, I need all this and I want a bigger title. I want more people. It's like, okay, good for you. But the member doesn't care. The customer doesn't care. They just want this stuff to work really well. So fortunately, we have a seat at the table at the executive level, and I get to see and hear everything going on of all stakeholders on a daily, weekly basis. And then when we put something to action, it's partnering with those other areas. But to more specifically, like, hey, what's your footprint? I think that's what you're going for. So I really describe my team as insights to action. So we have all the CX, all the member research, all the stakeholder research. We have all the CX professionals, the journey mapping and the understanding. So once we understand the insights, we interpret those insights and say, hey, how does this fit into what people really care about and what they're experiencing from a journey? Then we have the UX team. So we both on and offline. So it's not just digital. What is that user experience? And let's go out in the wild and walk through these processes, see if it actually works or not. And then we have the DX team, the digital experience team. So most of our experiences are online. So when you think about it, not many people come to our headquarters. They're going into their wallet and pulling out this card, or they're going online. So those are our assets that we have to do really well. So having the oversight of that was critical in order for us to kind of have the whole value stream, and then traditional product marketing, sponsorships, events, PR, communications, internal comms, all that stuff. So really, when you take a step back, we're really a content management team. I mean, from end to end,
Mhm.
understanding what people want, making bets and decisions based on improving that stuff, and then putting it into market. So I not only get to promise what we are from a marketing point of view, but I also have the responsibility to deliver on it. And if it doesn't work, I hear about it and I got to fix it. And I have the team and the tools to do that.
Mhm.
So it's this amazing flywheel. And I think that that's why we've been so successful in such a short period of time. Because as you know, these programs take a long time to get off the ground. And what's more impressive is the sustainability. So the fact that year over year we continue to grow as a team is a real commitment that we're in it to win it. This isn't like a vanity. Oh yeah, we have a CX team. A lot of companies try this and then budgets get tough, the economy gets tough, and they shelf the CX programs, which I've seen it happen to so many fantastic companies that were doing so well, and then they just kind of backed off because of financial pressures. But
Yeah.
they're not focused on retention. And I know a lot of it is about acquisition, but we're in the retention game.
Let me
So
stop you there and ask you,
yeah,
as far as the numbers and the metrics, because I run this
yeah.
group called CXO House, and it's all CXOs. And I always ask them, and I'll ask you too, like as chief experience officer, what are the numbers that you're looking at every day when you think, are we successful today?
So I have a lot of numbers and there's a lot of data, and we're in a data company. I mean, as I mentioned at the onset, we have some of the most personal private data of people in Kansas than anybody. It's their health insurance information. So we have to use that responsibility. We take that with a very high regard, right? So to protect that data. So when I look at the interactions, I'm looking at all the activities people have. So what are the claims? What are the top claims coming through? We get insights on that. How are people interacting with our different channels? Where are people getting stuck? We have daily monitoring of sentiment. So when you think about people calling in, people emailing, and using AI to synthesize that for us so we can kind of see what's happening, like what's trending. And then we have these more longitudinal metrics, right? Which I mentioned before, these big popular, experience index type annual things that we've actually tied to our employees' performance. So I'm very proud that when you think about metrics, they're great, but what drives behavior, incentives. So, I'm really proud to say that one of our 5 key outcomes for our company every year, and of course I'm a marketing person, so I make them the ABCs. I mean, affordability. So we have to make sure we're keeping costs down, because if we don't have an affordable product, nothing else matters. I mean, it's such an expensive thing. Broad membership, you can't have a lot of members if you don't have an affordable product. So they're kind of sequential. And then once you get the members, great, you better treat them well. And that's where customer experience comes in. So we actually have that longitudinal metric as part of our overall outcomes. So that's A, B, C, D. We don't have a D, but we do the right thing. How about that? And then E is employee experience. So we want to make sure employees are really engaged, because much like my past history with the phone folks over at Discover, most interactions are over the phone. So people are calling us at the biggest moments, and how we deliver that experience then matters so much. So a happy employee equals a happy customer. So we don't treat our employees well.
Mhm.
Um, it's going to come through, right? And then last but not least is the financial strength. So we are not for profit. That doesn't mean we don't make money. We take in, over $3 billion a year. We pay $3 billion out to providers, and that's just in Kansas. So multiply that by 50 states. I
Yeah,
mean, it is
number.
huge money. It's a huge financial company.
Yeah.
So we got to make sure we're using those dollars wisely, and that we're not, that we're operating well. And I'm proud to say that Kansas is one of the lowest administrative health plans in the US, which
Mhm.
is pretty amazing. 88 cents of every dollar goes to actually pay for the care. So it's a really good story, and a really proud story, and a very mission driven story, that makes me feel good, and our employees feel good about where they work, because you can work anywhere. I mean, you can make a lot of money doing a lot of things, and I have.
Let's talk about AI
Yeah,
because everyone wants to hear about
yeah.
AI. I'm actually about to go keynote an event, and I'll be talking about AI. So, how
Oh
are you
yeah.
guys using AI, and have you had any early success with it?
Yeah, we've had a lot of success. We're using it in all kinds of ways. And I don't want to start listing off vendor names, but you get the point. But we're using it internally for efficiency, clearly. I mean, it's almost like this, to take a step back from AI, because I've listened to other podcasts and it feels like everybody says the same thing. So I'm really challenging myself to say something
Okay,
different.
let's see if you can do.
And I think and you'll keep me honest, because you interview a lot more people than I probably talk to. But at the core of this, it's a change management issue, just like anything else. And
Mhm.
I think people are so focused on the tech that they're forgetting that this is just like any other change management thing. You're going to have your early adopters, and I have them on my team that they love it. They use it every day. They're excited. They're all in. Then there's these people that are just like waiting around, like, I don't know yet. Maybe I'll see. And then there's the absolutely not. I'm not doing this. This is a waste of time and money. every time you use Chat GPT, it's gallons of water that are wasted. I mean, I've had my own employees and I've had
Wow.
really rich conversations with them where they're like, look, this is not environmentally responsible and you should not be using this for low functioning brain parts. You should be using this on, I've had these like debates with people, but I love it because that's my background, is all about the qualitative, right? I love qualitative research, and that starts right at home. And we've had those same challenges even on a team of 60 where I've got all different types of people. So how do you bring people along? So I've been really focused on, no pun intended, no irony here, the experience of AI.
Mhm.
And I've been working through it through that angle versus the tools are going to come and go. And there's going to be every month, every day, there's new tools. There's so many different things. But I really go back to, what is your business problem? What are you trying to solve? And for me, it's about efficiency. I'm a not-for-profit, so that means I don't have huge budgets, right? I got a very small
Yeah.
budget. I got to spread it.
Mhm.
So for me, it is a really great value prop for our members to say we are using it responsibly to write a letter that you can't understand anyway in an easier way. That's a lower grade level, because we're clinical, we're medical people. I mean, these are big terms and technologies and pharmacy. I mean, these are complex terms and things. So using it to simplify member letters, that's been one use case. Developing creative briefs. You're creative. You work in this space. I mean, it
Yeah.
takes an hour or two to develop a really good one. And guess what? We're taking that 2 hour creative brief time and condensing it down into 10 minutes. And then my team is adding some of the color or the story to it. So to me, it's been an efficiency thing, a time thing, and then also a staffing thing. So when you think about, I'm always going to have AI as a thought partner, but it's never going to be a thought leader. And we're really positioning it as a thought partner. And, so for example, my UX folks, they're taking in designs and creative briefs, and they're putting it on AI use case platforms and testing it in market and getting real time feedback before they move to the next step of their UX. That's saving them. That used to take us weeks. We would go hire a vendor. They would go do it manually and use their proprietary software. Now we're doing it all in house. Those are just a few use cases for efficiency, so to speak. But the one I'm most excited about is the Knowledge Buddy and the next best action AI enablement.
Mhm.
So today, just to give you and we don't have this out yet, but this is what we're working on for 2026. When someone calls in, our customer service folks, they have to pull up like 7 different screens. And this is very common in most companies, different vendors, different
Yeah.
interfaces, different data points to answer the question. And this AI is always kind of running and it's looking at it, and they're listening. The AI is listening to these questions, and it's still our customer service, our award-winning customer service. But the AI is saying, hey, based on what I've heard and all these systems, here's a paragraph of the right answer. And then that customer service person can very quickly answer that, because one of our biggest expenses is our calls. Calls are really expensive on average. I mean, these are not like 1 minute calls. These are like 10, 15-minute calls. They cost like 30, 40, $50 a call. They're expensive. So if we can compress some of those costs and use AI to make it more efficient without compromising experience, then that's a win.
That's
So those
awesome.
are a few examples. I don't know if those help. Yeah.
Really helpful. I mean, it's hard when you ask people about AI, they don't really want to give specifics. So I really like that you gave me specifics, which differentiates you. So you did bring something new to the table. Thank you so much. What do you think is the future of the role? Like, is there any writing on the wall that you're seeing now with this CMO, CXO role, of how these technologies are going to change your role in the future?
Yeah, they already have changed my role. I mean, they've made me better. They've made my team better. It's like all of a sudden, like it kind of reminds me, I like sci-fi and stuff. And it reminds me of like, those like astronauts that like go into like the metal suit and they go and like lift these boulders in like this machine, but it's like their body, but they've got like this chassis around them. I'm probably messing up the analogy, but it just makes them stronger, right? I mean, they're using their own knowledge, and they're just using the technology and the machine as a tool to make them stronger and better. And that's really how I've been leaning into it. I'm very pro AI, and I'm probably doing it selfishly. So one day when all the jobs are AI, maybe AI will hire me and I'll be like this the stand-up comic in like some AI bar on a space station and telling jokes to a bunch of AIs sitting at the bar, like doing shots of terabytes or whatever AI will
That's
do in
funny.
the future. So that's actually my weird story analogy. I just made it up,
I
but
like that.
hopefully that's funny for somebody.
Reminds me of like Spaceballs, the movie.
Yeah, that's probably why it's on. I just saw that, by the way. The I Like Me John Candy premiere in Chicago. So speaking of Spaceballs, John Candy is one of my favorite comics. So
Oh,
anyway,
awesome.
sidebar. You can edit this out.
No,
So
I'm absolutely
anyway,
not going to edit it out. I like that. Well, we've reached the end of our time together. Are you game for some quick
oh boy.
questions, quick answers?
Well, that went fast.
I know,
I'll
right?
do my best.
Okay. This is the rapid fire. Let's
Okay,
get
let's go
started.
for it.
Okay. Mike, what's the most important part of your morning routine?
It's probably starts with God, a little prayer time, and then gratitude, just reminding myself of what I'm grateful for despite anything. And then, of course, I'm a marketer, so it's the three G's. And then the gym. So I try and do something, even if I just go down there and like watch the news and like stretch. I at least, have that kind of as my let's focus on what's most important in life. And I've always said, faith, family, finance, fitness, and fulfillment are like the five things I always kind of ground myself in. And if I'm going to say that, I got to do it. So I'm really intentional about starting my day that way.
Love it. Okay. And how about at the end of the day? What do you do to relax at the end of the day?
So spend time with the family. I have three children and a pretty big span from 18 to 8. So I get all the different flavors of all the different generations, or the emerging generations, which is awesome. So I'm always learning from them and my wife. And that's great. And then they all go to bed, and I'm kind of a night owl. So I have this little clawfus in the basement, which is, we're in Kansas. So everyone's afraid of tornadoes, even though we don't get as many as you would think. And it's like this little concrete room. It's like 8 by 8. And I turned it into like a music studio. And I go down there usually and I record music. I'm like a you know, I'm like a musician, singer, songwriter person that not
Mm-hmm.
successful at it, but it's a great release and a hobby and a mental. I think music is so expressive to kind of release a lot, and for me, it's really therapeutic. So music is kind of my therapy. I
Love
wind
it.
down.
What's your idea of perfect happiness?
I don't know if anyone said this, but I feel like I'm living it. I feel like we create the environment we want in life. Life is short, so live it up. So every day is a blessing, and I'm just so thankful to be here and just make every day better than the last, and never take anything for granted. I mean, my personal and professional mission statement is bring the joy and make things better, and I just try and do that every day. And some people like it, some people don't like it. I can be a lot for a lot of people, and that's okay. You can't get everybody on your side, but the fact that I not only live and get to do stuff to improve people's lives and improve my own, I mean, that's living, that's happiness. So I'm very happy.
Nice. That's so great. I love it. What's your favorite type of vacation?
Well, my favorite type of vacation is one I just went on, but I got to be careful because I didn't bring my wife or kids. I turned 50 and I invited my three best friends out to Moab, which I don't know if you know this stands for Mike's Outstanding Adventure Birthday. And we did 4 days of immersing ourselves in Moab, disc golfing, hiking, electric mountain biking, some bouldering, and it was amazing. So that was great. Just time with family and friends. Again, back to what I value and what's important to me. It's that definitely was intentional to not only do that for like, oh, look at me, I'm 50, but just to reinforce what I care about, which is people. So I'm in the people business personally, professionally. That's what I do. I get my energy off of others. I'm not a good introvert. I've tried it, but anyway. So yeah, that's the ideal vacation is just seeing the joy in others and these experiences and the stories. I mean, I love stories. I'm a storyteller, and for me, any trip, it's the story. Yeah,
Great. If you had to describe your outlook in
yeah.
one quick motto, although I feel like you already gave me like a few mottos, if you could just do one quick motto for your life, what would it be?
Bring the joy, make things better.
Love it. Love it. This has been really, really fun. And I didn't tell you, but I'm a Blue Cross Blue Shield member in California.
Oh,
I didn't want to tell you that because I didn't
thank you
want to
for your,
I didn't want you to know
yeah.
and I didn't want to impact your answers.
No, that's great. I trust that you've had a good experience. If you
It has
didn't,
been
I will
good.
hear about
It
it.
actually has been
So
good. It
it's
has been good.
good.
So it's interesting, but I know it's different depending on where you live. But no, it has been good. And I'm so grateful you spent your valuable time with me today. And I hope you'll come back to tell us more about all the cool things you're doing with AI and just thriving over there in the people business in Kansas. So thanks for being here.
I hope you got something out of it. I hope your listeners get some nugget of inspiration out of it. And thank you again. It was an honor, Blake. I appreciate you.
This was awesome. And all of you, you've been tuning into the Modern Customer Podcast. Until next time, thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like or subscribe and follow my social content on other platforms where I post content daily, including X, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and more.